entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, the U.S. Open Picks Preview. One and done. The most ANDERCURSED players of the week. Plus, I got a bunch of giveaways to get into the DraftKings Millionaire Maker. I do want to let everyone know, if you're happen to be watching this on YouTube, I don't know if we're back on YouTube yet or not, but if you're looking for the Listeners League link to the $15 3-max entry Pat Mayo Experience No Rake DraftKings Open, you can find it in the description of the podcast or up on my Facebook page. And if we ever go dark again on YouTube, go to the facebook.com/thepme. All of the videos are actually up there. We actually haven't stopped doing shows. We just stopped doing shows for YouTube because we've been banned for life. I banned too many people for life, then I got banned for life. The irony has come full circle. But on facebook.com is where you can find everything. But if you smash the like button for this video, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section and tell me your favorite pick to win from beyond 100 to 1. I know there's not a lot of good ones out there, but who is your favorite from beyond 100 to 1? That is one way to get into a draw. And I'll tell you what the draws are for here in a second. The other two ways to do that: subscribe, rate, and review the audio podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, no matter where it is. 5-star review, DraftKings handle, something you like about the show, boom, you're also in the draw. Then finally, probably the easiest one to win, follow me on the Instagrams, like one of the US Open photos that are up there, and just leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section. If you say something nice about me or Jeff or whatever, it's going to give you extra weight. I'm not going to lie to you. I love reading great stuff about myself and don't like reading negative things about myself. Shocker. I know. I feel like most people are like that. But the draws are going to be for a bunch of tickets, not only into the Millionaire Maker, which is $100 worth of value this time around, also into the $250,000 Maker as well. We'll be announcing the winners on Wednesday's show, the live chat that I'm doing with Reed Fowler. The DraftKings Super Show is going to be out on Tuesday with Rick Gaiman and Ben Raza. All of my content will be up on DraftKingsPlaybook.com, DKPlaybook.com. And if you missed it, I had Joe House from Fairway Rollin' on the show on Friday. We broke down the course, talk about our initial thoughts. You can go check that out as well, up on Facebook and all of the podcast feeds. Become a member at FantasyNational.com too, because it's going to be good. Geoff Fienberg is here. What's up?
It is huge, the contest this week.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Are you going to play in the PME Open?
That's what I'm referring to.
Oh, I thought you meant the Millionaire Maker.
Well, that's also huge, but I'm more on brand here.
I'm still torn on what I want to do, because usually I play like 20 laps and the Millionaire Maker cost me $400. I don't know if I want to spend like $2K playing in the Millionaire Maker. I'm not going to lie to you. I might just play like 3 lineups. I might just play my 3 lineups in the PME Open, the 3 lineups in the Millionaire Maker, and maybe I'll play 20 in the other one.
Yeah.
It's a way to do it, I guess.
We'll see.
We don't normally do the shout outs and stuff like that. We save that for like the regular shows and like the recaps. So we're not going to do too much about that. And Cust is coming up here in a minute. But Chris Ferrier, Ferriter. Sorry about butchering your last name, but he sent us a video last week about his gender reveal. It was a golf swing. It was in slow motion. They're having a boy. Congratulations to Chris. Took some heat from people because people on the internet are fucking assholes.
Yeah. Hey,
it couldn't have been like a sweeter, kind of more celebratory thing.
It was so innocent. I'm not really into gender reveals, but I back like how he did it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was good.
Looked like his swing had good form too. Looks like he can stroke the ball.
However, get a message from him on Sunday.
Yeah.
He's won a GPP, won $15K on DraftKings. That is a great way to kick off having a baby.
Gender reveal swag.
There we go. You got Fred VanVleet. He's killing it for the Raptors. Danny Willett rode baby swag to a win. Now Chris winning $15K on DraftKings. So shout out to my man Chris. I want to let everyone know, become a member at FantasyNational.com today. All the tools you'll need to be successful. Hopefully. I mean, you can misapply them like I do, and then you're not going to be successful. But all of the stats, the biggest stat database on the planet, lineup generator, tournament simulator, everything you need, FantasyNational.com right now. First thoughts on the U.S. Open. We'll get to Cust here in a second.
I cannot wait. Pebble Beach, a U.S. Open. You have a clear tier 1 that I feel like we have always said like this is tier 1. Granted, there have been other players that have spent moments in there. And at the top, and I am just hyper excited. I love the fact that I love the challenging setups. I like when it gets firm and fast and nasty. There doesn't seem to be an ounce of rain in the long-range forecast.
That can change when you're on the coast at a moment's notice.
But by all accounts, people that are there, the course is playing firm. The course is playing fast. It is runoffs everywhere.
All right, so before we make our picks and really dig into the course and the entire field, we need to know who maybe we shouldn't be picking. So, on the line right now to give his 3 picks for the U.S. Open, who is ANDERCURSED for the year's 3rd major this time around. No longer the 2nd major. It is Tim ANDERCURSED.
Tim ANDERCURSED.
That is not my name. And listen, you should be listening to me. I'm the big game hunter.
I guess so. I don't recall. I recall you not wanting to pick Brooks at the PGA Championship. You said, "Oh, I think he's going to win, but I'm not going to pick him." I recall that happening.
Yeah, I couldn't pick him because I had already taken one top-tier star.
As we tell you, you can pick whoever you want.
Tim,
and we told you this at the time.
No.
Yet you still wouldn't pick him.
You're allowed to say, I think. Like Brooks Koepka will win the U.S. Open. He is my pick to win the U.S. Open. For the purposes of a one-and-done game I play, I've used him. Therefore, for that, I am taking player X.
Also,
but to say that you couldn't...
Also, he makes 3 picks. They all can't be your one and done.
That's
actually
a great
against
point.
Me so quickly.
Well, it doesn't make any sense. So when you make your picks, you can pick whoever
It's like you had
want.
the winner, but we're still like finding a way to get mad at him. That's just sort of the brand.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's been a very curse-filled June. So after he declared it to be a curse-free June, it's been very curse-filled.
Well, there's lots of things, and he was trying to get off the mat because he's very close to having both his finals predictions wrong. I hope he has both of them wrong, to be honest, because he had the Warriors in 5.
Yes.
And he had the Blues in 6.
Yes.
Which almost could have happened.
And also, all of his. Hold on a second.
He had he wrote the tweet about the Blues and his pick, and he saved it in his draft. Like what time? 7:00 last night, like before the game.
Oh, I didn't save it in my draft. I don't know how to do that. I just wrote it and then opened up a new tab, and then left it in the other tab, but then closed that tab once I was wrong.
Did they finally score after you closed the tab?
Well, no, it got to be 3-1, and I gave up and closed it. So
yeah, he was hoping for a bit of a reverse curse on the go. So let's get into the U.S. Open, Tim. This is your favorite tournament of the year, and it's really hard to argue against that.
Hard to.
As everyone is, because I think someone pointed this out, because they've played Tiger Woods in the past.
It was me.
That everyone is an expert on Pebble Beach.
Yeah, this is the week where it might be equally annoying to like Masters commentary in that everyone who's a golf fan, self-included, we all feel like we're experts at Pebble Beach because it is Pebble Beach. It's a world-renowned golf course. It's probably the most famous golf course in North America.
Outside of Augusta.
Yes, sorry.
Probably even more famous than Augusta.
It's not.
It's not. Right? A top like
that's just like when you told me that like some random par 3 was more famous than the 17th at Sawgrass.
I think I said the road hole was more famous than it is.
No, we were comparing.
The argument was not
threes.
the road hole versus the 17th at Sawgrass.
It was some like innocuous par 3.
But yes, we've all sort of grown up knowing Pebble Beach. I've never stepped foot on the grounds, but I feel like I know it, and part of it might be because of Tiger Woods. And in contrast, when we get to the Open Championship, no one will all like it'll be the complete opposite of like no one knows a freaking thing.
Only Gray McDowell, who is now in the Open Championship.
Incredible.
From Portrush, too. So with Pebble Beach, we can talk about it all we want, but none of us really know how it's going to play this week. Because like 2000 and 2010 played pretty similar, and just the one outlier is Tiger won by like 15 strokes in 2000, but it played super difficult. Apparently, it's going to be just a tad bit different this time around. The main thing is, at least from what I've heard from the USGA, is that the greens aren't going to run as fast as they did those times. Tim, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, that's reasonable enough as long as the rough is super high. I mean, listen, Pebble Beach is a short golf course. In order to be able to host a U.S. Open, it has to have high rough and it has to have fast greens because that's the only way the course can defend itself. Otherwise, it's like the Pro-Am. People go out there and shoot really, really low scores. Like Phil Mickelson should not be able to win at a golf tournament that a U.S. Open is being held at because he should be forced to pay the penalty for being out of position off the tee. So if the rough is not high and the greens aren't fast, it's not a U.S. Open. I think the greens will still be pretty darn quick. They may not be like where it was at Shinnecock, where they lost the course and they were unable to receive balls, but I still think they'll be lightning fast. There's no way that they can't be. The weather, in Southern California is perfect. Like it's going to be a very fast track.
Yeah, I wrote about this on my column up on dkplaybook.com this week, is that we talked about, remember, Jeff, we talked about this for the Players' Championship. It's like, there's going to be a significant difference moving it from May into the beginning of March because it's going to be so much colder in the beginning of March. Now, in California, it wasn't super warm during the AT&T Pro-Am earlier this season, so you're just going to get the more baked out effect on the course anyway. But I don't think that you're going to see, at least early chatter is that the greens are still going to be pretty receptive and they'll play a bit slower than your typical US Open will, but these are still the tiniest greens on the planet.
They're very tiny greens, and I think that also needs to be mentioned is the runoff in the fairways, because this place is looking like it's going to be firm and fast everywhere. So guys, you might think that guy needs to pick that tee up off the tee box because that thing looks center cut, but you hit it too pure on these baked out fairways, and you could run into areas that you were not prepared for. We're certainly not intending on having your second shot numbers from there. So the fairway runoffs are also a concern, and there's even, yes, there are holes that have cliffs, at the runoffs, but you can find a lot of trouble just by running off the fairway, and they're elevated and they're slanted, and it'll make for some interesting second shots.
So one of the things that the USGA has done, there's a lot of very, very, very thick rough once you get off the short grass. They've trimmed it down a little bit around the greens for like a pace or two, and then it's can't find your ball type rough, which is fine. I'm all for that. But they've also shaved a lot of the mounds that you're talking about for these runoff areas. So like for the Pro-Am, because you're dealing with guys who are like 20 handicaps in the field, like there's going to be rough there to stop the ball from going in the ocean. That's gone. Like if you hit one of those mounds, you are rolling into the Pacific. And I think one of the things that goes a bit overlooked about this course and how it sort of correlates a little bit with Augusta is just the fairways are really sloped. That you're not going to, remember, we talked about this like the John Deere Classic, at the Tournament of Champions, the Masters, it always tends to come up, but it's the same thing for Pebble Beach, is that you're not going to have a flat shot at any time during this week, unless you're on the tee box on a par 3 kind of thing. So that has to come into play too. So I would look at those courses, see who has performed well at those over the years, just based on approaches, because it's a bit more difficult when the ball is below your feet or above your feet, and you have to deal with that on every single shot. We saw that with Kuchar and Spieth. Where was the Open that year when Spieth took like 89 minutes to hit a shot?
Where was that?
Kuchar?
Troon. No, Carnoustie.
No, wasn't Carnoustie last year?
Was Carnoustie last year?
Royal Troon, I think.
No, Troon was Stenson and Phil.
That's right. Now I forget.
Lytham?
Lytham? Yeah, was it Royal Lytham?
Yeah, maybe it could have been Lytham. No, Lytham was when Adam Scott and
I think they went back there because I feel like we got to relive that.
I don't even remember at this point. This is how quickly the stuff goes out of our mind. Let's move past that. Someone can be like, someone has it on the tip of their tongue out there. But Tim, let's get
I know.
Let's get to your picks. Who are you picking for the US Open?
Okay. So the U.S. Open, it's interesting. Augusta is the course where driving distance matters the most on tour. The Pebble Beach and the U.S. Open, particularly at Pebble Beach, where driving distance is going to matter the least on tour. So I'm looking for guys who are just accurate hitters, guys who aren't going to hit a lot of drivers, who shouldn't be hitting a lot of drivers.
Well, hold on.
And just guys with course history.
But before you start off on that, do you think it's worth mentioning, like, where even just knowing Pebble a little bit after seeing it all the time, just the layout itself isn't going to change. The rough might change. That when you get your Brookses, your Dustins, and players like that, that their accuracy is going to improve substantially because they will not be hitting driver. Because on a lot of these, like especially these short par 4s, if you hit driver, you're going to hit it over the fairway into the ocean because there's like cliffs and gaps in between the green. So their accuracy should theoretically improve because they'll be hitting like 4-iron.
I think that's a very fair point. So the 3 guys I'm taking, so with the third least confidence, but I'm going to take Brandt Snedeker. He's won at this course twice. He's played golf last week. I sort of liked him before last week too. So I just think Snedeker is the type of golfer that suits very well to a U.S. Open here at Pebble. So he's on my list.
Snedeker,
like my third least. Second.
Snedeker has the 2 wins here. He was inside the top 12 in the 2010 U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. He's currently 50-1. I have a feeling he might be the highest owned guy on DraftKings this week because of his price, and at $7,500, he's sort of cheap, comes in with good form, and I think people are like you. They just see his Pebble history, and I can't fault anyone for it. I don't know if he's going to win.
And he played really well in Hamilton. That helps too.
So who's your number 2?
Like, we just saw him play good golf. So Jordan Spieth. Again, Spieth is kind of rounding into form. Driving distance doesn't matter that much here. I mean, the only thing about picking Jordan Spieth is that you know that once he misses the postage stamp green, he's going to turn to the cameras and whine and complain about how hard this place is because, you know, the world has to be suited in a particular way to suit Jordan Spieth. So it's hard to root for him at a course like this, which is designed for him to complain. But I think he's going to play good golf here. I think if he's going to win another U.S. Open, this is the type of place he has to play, sort of a shorter place where driving distance doesn't kill you. So I kind of like him here.
Okay, and your number 1 pick, who I assume you're using as your one and done, is who?
I am Adam Scott. I think Adam Scott's going to win.
Really? How come?
I think he's been playing well at majors. The last 2 majors, he's played great golf. I think he is. It's all about the putting. But at the end, I thought to myself, listen, you keep preaching this. Putting is random, so don't get too hung up on who's a great putter and who isn't. Just pick the guy who's striking the ball well. He's got a major championship. He's played on tougher greens than these at Augusta and been successful. He played well at Augusta. He played well at Bethpage Black. So I'm just riding a hunch that his game is rounding into some pretty top tier form, and that I think he's going to be someone that I know the books never give you good odds on Scott. They always assume he's going to be better than he is, but I think he's going to win. And I've thought this for about 2 or 3 weeks, and I have not been able to be dissuaded from it. So I'm going with Adam Scott.
Would it surprise you to learn that Adam Scott has gained strokes putting in all 8 measured events so far this season?
It would, because I know Scott has over the last several years has had real trouble with the flat stick.
It seems like ever since he's been allowed to, and he does it like randomly. Sometimes he'll keep it in, sometimes he'll take it out. But putting with the pin in, I would say, has not helped anyone more than Adam Scott.
The perception is because he misses a lot of short ones.
But he makes a lot of long ones.
Yes, that's sort of my point. And they sort of offset in the statistical matter where he can still come out on top. It feels like he's playing a Tiger-esque schedule. We've mentioned that a couple weeks. He's literally on what feels like Tiger's schedule to a T almost. On top of that, it seems like within every event he enters, there is a moment where I'm like, holy shit, Adam Scott could actually win this freaking thing.
But then he doesn't. So here's my throwing cold water on this, and I kind of like Adam Scott this week too. I don't know if I'm going to bet him or not, but I do like him. One is, Tim, you preach course history. Scott's only played the Pebble Beach as part of the Pro-Am twice. One was earlier this year, the first time he ever made the cut. That was a T60. He missed the cut in his only other appearance. So that would be somewhat problematic. And if we talk about how Scott is doing really well from long-range putting and very poorly from short-range putting, these greens aren't so big. There's not a whole lot of long putts to be made.
Yeah. For me,
that's all there is.
Just to break down what I think will be most important this year is 2 things. And I think driving is being underrated, because if you look at the history of the winners at Pebble Beach, they actually drove the ball very well relative to the field, both GMAC and Tiger, and even at the Pro-Ams, it does statistically.
Well, the Pro-Am's a bit different, because we saw Phil do this when he won this year. He was basically playing bomb and gouge.
No,
he just knew, hey, I can bomb it up into the rough here. I'll be 100 yards away, and I'll stick it to 6 feet. No big deal. That is not happening.
I just think people are mitigating the importance of driver, and you look at how Tiger and McDowell did. They both had great driving stats that week. They both had great driving stats coming in to the event. I do think it's key, because if you're not, you could really hurt yourself. After that, though, I'm torn on the scrambling and essentially give or take from 150 yards. The greens are small.
And listen, it's a U.S. Open. It's a lot. There's luck involved too. What draw you get made all the difference last year at Shinnecock, right? It's blind luck. What time of day you play.
Course. And I would argue
there's probably no tournament where luck is more relevant and randomness is relevant than the U.S. Open. And it's by design. Is the winner going to be under par? Probably not. He wasn't last year. He probably won't be this year. So that means it only takes a slight little thing to go awry to change the whole championship.
And where we're dealing with Pebble Beach, right now there's not a ton of wind forecasted, but we're still 3 days away from Thursday. And when you play on the coast, remember it started to hail at the Pro-Am this year out of nowhere, and there was snow on the ground, and then all of a sudden 4 hours later it was fantastic out. So
I'm excited that it's interesting, because a lot of where we've been recently are places that wide open whether it was
Hamilton wasn't.
No, I mean U.S. Opens.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Shinnecock, Erin Hills, Chambers Bay.
Oakmont less so.
I would say
Oakmont a bit less.
Oakmont and Marion are probably the two that compare best to this, or maybe even Olympic
I mean,
Club.
the one thing is there are no flukes in
I
U.S.
thought
Open.
the Olympic Club,
they
actually,
are,
the Olympic Club
was
is a
pretty narrow.
reasonable
No, that was
comparator.
pretty narrow.
Yeah, it was.
I only know it was narrow because Furyk put it in the trees on 17 or something.
Yeah, it was 15, and Furyk hit it in the tree on the
my
left and cost himself the U.S. Open.
Jeez.
Yeah, that
okay,
was fun.
But scrambling will be so crucial this week. I want to mitigate putting because I always do. That being said, Pat, the guy who will have the hottest ticket Saturday night, Sunday, I don't know how it will finish, but it's every week on tour. And guessing who this person will be is almost impossible. But who will be the guy that the broadcast says, this guy is 42 of 42 inside 10 feet every week. So I don't know who that guy is. Projecting who that guy is feels, impossible week to week on the PGA Tour. But that's who you want to own. And the guys you trust from that 150 iron range and hitting those greens.
So what I did in terms of the statistical model on Fantasy National, I actually weighted driving distance a little bit. I put fairways gained at a higher clip than driving distance, but I didn't take it out. I kept it in there because I do think that's going to be especially important on some of the par fives and just even getting a glance of distance versus accuracy, who are the good players at that. But the biggest thing I weighted, approach is the biggest weight, but I weighted strokes gained around the green more than I normally do. And I basically have a thing this week where whether I look at the past 24 rounds, 50 rounds, 100 rounds, if you're in the bottom 90 of the field and strokes gained around the green, you're getting crossed off my list. DraftKings, betting wise, I just can't do it.
I want to agree with that assessment.
In 2000, the green regulation for the field was around 48%. In 2010, the greens and regulation for the field average was around 54%. Only 11 guys hit over 60% of their greens and regulation the year the McDowell won. So you're going to have to be able to get it up and down.
And McDowell only hit, I looked into that stat. He did not hit a ton of greens that week. He scrambled the bejesus
and putted the
out of that place. And was unconscious.
And got lucky that Dustin decided to blow himself up.
Yes, sure. But again, luck and in-game variance will remain undefeated, especially on this golf course, especially on the POA. Guys will get horrible breaks. Shots will look perfect. They will end up in hosels.
But that's what makes it great. What makes this tournament so great. It's so much fun.
And this is the first time, though, that we're going to be able to get on these POA greens in a major and guys can yard work them.
This is true.
You can yard work these, so maybe we'll see less 4-foot misses, 5-foot misses if you can landscape your POA bumps.
I would still think that the bumps are still going to be there too. It's just an inherently bumpy surface to putt on, and we see that every single year. And being a public course, I know that they'll have it in pristine condition, but they won't be manicured the same way some of the other courses are at. When you talk about Augusta greens, you're just not going to get the pure roll like that. That's why someone like Snedeker has always played so well at this course, because he's good at putting on bad surfaces. Same as DJ. They kind of embrace the variance of those putts, and all of a sudden they start dropping. I do think that POA does mitigate the gap between bad putters and good putters, as I do think the same way between having these smaller greens. Because, we always talk about Bubba. Why is Bubba good at putting sometimes? Because he's a really good lag putter. We're just not going to have any lag putts here.
I think the USGA is going to be able to get what they want this week.
Hopefully.
It is a
course.
The US. If there's anybody who can screw something up, it's the USGA.
I was thinking
don't hold your breath.
They could use a W here. Because I think Mike Davis isn't doing much with the course itself this time around. It'd be good for the USGA to rebound a little bit and just have a good week.
But I'm looking forward to
the last 3 U.S. Opens have been disasters. For 4, really. Chambers Bay, everyone hated the course. Oakmont, they wasted the 4th round debating whether Dustin would take a penalty stroke. Everyone despised Erin Hills because it was too easy. And then last year they lost the course. So they do need a W badly.
Yeah, Erin Hills, they've been going to Erin Hills is a bit of a landfill.
But that was a weird outlier. Apparently, the 1 week they played the U.S. Open was 3 weeks out of 52 during the year that winds weren't swirling at 35 miles per hour. That's the whole point of that course.
Yeah, no, of course. And lots of courses have their defenses. Shinnecock, historically...
Hold on. Only to pile on that. No one gets mad at a British Open if the winning score is 20 under. Because it wasn't windy that week.
No, but the British Open, when the winds are bad, they put the pins directly in the middles of the green. Like the RNA know what to do when the winds are bad.
Yeah, but all of a
You went
sudden,
to it, it doesn't
you could
adjust.
play the same course on back-to-back days, and one day it plays 5 under par, the next day it plays 5 over par because of the wind.
Yeah,
but if the wind never shows
of
up, it
course,
could be a
but
super easy
I
British
want my
Open.
2 under par winner. Like, that's what I'm here for.
Oh, me too. I would appreciate that, but if stuff gets out of control where if wind is a primary defense of a course and it doesn't show up, then you have to go the other way with it.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
So,
Okay.
do you put anything into the last 5 winners of the U.S. Open at Pebble? It was McDowell. Let's see here. McDowell, Tiger, Watson, Kite, and Nicklaus are the past 5 winners. 4 of them had won the Pro-Am before coming in, and GMAC had a top 8. Do you think that actually does go a long way? You don't?
I'm really torn
No, I
here.
don't.
I do. It's a very scary track for players without experience. That being said, maybe because it's so scary, they don't have the scar tissues, maybe of certain places. There are a couple players that have never played it that I am thinking about betting, but I am very concerned about. That being said, I've got a whole list with no minimum round required of the best scoring averages at Pebble Beach. And it's actually quite funny, Pat, because a guy like Gary Woodland has the best score average of anyone in this field on Pebble Beach links.
He's played it 3 times.
He's played it 4 times, which essentially means he's missed the cut twice in the Pro-Am, and he played the weekend once, totaling 4 total rounds on Pebble with an average score of 68. Brandt Snedeker with 12 total rounds on the track and an average score of 69. It's hard to know what to wait and what not to wait. But
I would even think
both
looking at
guys-
U.S. Open, like past performance in U.S. Opens, could go a long way. Because, I mean, these conditions are similar year to year to year to year. And you have to deal with the funkiness of it all anyway, that there are certain players who tend to show up. Like Rory's missed the cut 3 straight years at U.S. Opens. Maybe there's something about the USGA setup that Rory's not real keen to.
We got to say this. Not all say this. We got to say this. Rory doesn't win a golf tournament if the final score is -2 or 3.
Would he win it?
No, that's correct.
Would he win at Kiawah Island?
Well, he crushed it. He went
Okay,
he's
10 or
capable
11 under.
of he's capable of being Brooks, and like you're on a different course
Yeah, like
than
he
the whole
did
field.
that at Congressional when he won.
But right, like Rory seems like the when the courses like get really teethy and angry.
Yeah,
Those don't
maybe
seem
not
to,
the best.
Those don't seem to be the best Rory layouts. And it's funny that we said it on the show last week. He had a number in Canada that was his major championship number.
Should have bet it.
Should have bet it. Going for that triple crown. So
I used him on my other one and done teams. That was the only thing that I really took out positively from last week.
So congrats to that. But I'm torn. History says the guy, I don't even think you have to have won at Pebble Beach in the Pro-Am, but I would like to see some level of good history. But again, there's
a couple names out there that I really like that have very either limited experience
and
or
I want to
no experience.
Okay, well, there's a few people I want to. Yeah, we'll get
We'll get into that when we
there.
start going over the odds. So, any final thoughts on Pebbleton?
No, that's it. Other than I think that there will be a hole-in-one this weekend, or this tournament. So the last 2 U.S. Opens at Pebble, there have been aces. There'll be an ace this weekend or this tournament. I feel it.
You want to make a prediction on a specific hole? Do you think it's going to be the short one, number 6?
It'll be. Yeah, I don't know which one, but it'll be one of them.
Okay. Hey, any thoughts on the Fox broadcast? Because I'm looking forward to it. I think Fox does.
I think they've
done
a
I think
great
they do
job.
the best job with golf. I really do. And especially like their studio team is really like. I think
Faxon, Bacon,
but even like throwing like Darren Clark to break stuff down, like he's really good. Like it's just.
We'll see. I have low expectations.
It's a different vibe.
I think they're going to use drones. I'm sure that'll be stupid.
I mean, it's a perfect place to use drones, really, because it's over. You can put them over.
I don't know. You shouldn't use drones.
Is that because you don't?
It looks ugly.
Have you ever actually even seen a drone on a broadcast? The answer is no.
No, I don't need to see them. I don't like the idea of it.
But you won't see them.
I'm just happier with regular cameras. Thank you very much. I don't need the blimp tracer technology was such a disaster, and everyone hates it so much. It just shows that you can go too far with this stuff.
Well, there's going to be like 2 separate types of shot tracker this week. Plus, we're going to get almost all of the golf we can handle. They're going to have like these online feeds set up that you'll basically be able to watch.
Well, that's
I don't
fine.
want to say every shot, but there's going to be like 120 hours. Like the Masters set the standard for all of this. It seems like Fox is jumping on. I really enjoy their bunker cams too. which are pretty top notch. I'd like to see Fox get more into the golf game as it goes forward. I like the way that where CBS is stuck in a track, NBC is stuck in a track because they've been doing it for so long, is that Fox is the only place pumping out new ideas for the broadcast. Some of them work, some of them don't work. But I just like the way that it looks. I think it's cool to see some different angles, like having Nance and Faldo is great. I like both of them. But it's sort of the same thing year after year after year after year. Just having different people in the booth is really nice as well. So
I think they do a bang up job. I remember being like really nervous and trepid when like they got the contract and even going into that first Open. I think it was Chambers.
And it wasn't great at Chambers. They really improved from
and we kind of cracked
Chambers
jokes after that, but they've really done a bang up job the last couple years and been some bang up champs.
All right, before we let you get out of here, Tim, I was sent a message on the weekend that you got triggered at a gas station because you wanted to buy a Diet Coke, but there was too many flavors, so you didn't even buy Coke.
No, I just walked in, wanting to buy a Diet Coke, and out of nowhere, regular Coke Lime is a thing now apparently, and I didn't know it was a thing, and I just got very upset that it was there and said, you know what, the heck with it, I'm not even buying a Coke. And I bought a Gatorade instead to go to golf. And it just shows what a failure that whole ginger lime Diet Coke experiment was, that they imported just regular lime to Coke. If ginger lime was such a great flavor, they would have made it that, but they didn't. So I guess it's kind of proved my point while irritating me at the same time.
I don't understand how it proves your point, but okay.
It was such a great flavor, they would have transferred it over.
You supported PepsiCo. Like, who cares?
Yeah. It's very
Well, I just bought a Gatorade.
You didn't buy what you wanted to buy.
Yeah, because you got too triggered.
Like, no.
Yeah, so you're the loser. Like, you lose in this story.
I just was annoyed by it.
Did you know that since Tim has like railed against Coke for all these new flavors, their stock price has gone up $9?
Some of them are crossing the line.
Who cares? You don't have to buy them.
I agreed.
And like, why did you think you needed to be informed about a new Coke flavor, Tim? Are you not on like the Coke mailing list?
No, like I didn't see it on any of the message boards that I go on for Coke, so I didn't expect it to be there.
Hold on. The what?
Like the Reddit boards or whatever.
For what?
Coca-Cola.
Like what gets discussed on the Coke message board? Are you sure it's not like cocaine message boards, like where to buy it in this city?
What are people talking about on the Diet Coke thread?
Just in the past, people have talked about like different flavors or locations or like memorabilia.
Oh my god. That's
okay, friend.
That is some of the saddest shit I've ever heard in my life. The Coke message boards.
Oh, I disagree.
Give your head a shake. Tim Undercust!
I'm curious what other brands...
You blew the outro. Absolutely blew it. And we cannot take two, Jeff. Blew it. Well, you can keep talking now. It's already blown.
Good. What other food brand message boards do you go to on Reddit?
McDonald's. Only because I keep trying to figure out when the sweet tea is going to be introduced into Canada, and I'm very obsessed about this.
Did you debate like who the best McDonald's like McHappy character is? Like you're big on Grimace?
No, you know what? I no longer have any more comments to make.
Okay. Well,
I can't see how this helps me.
So you're going Brandt Snedeker, Jordan Spieth, Adam Scott. That will do it for the picks from Tim Undercust.
Tim Undercust.
I'm shook.
What?
I have someone I call a friend serves Coca-Cola message boards. I'm shook. I'm shook.
Gotta get those new flavors. Hey, what's sadder, the McDonald's message board or the? Do you think they post like naked pictures of Ronald McDonald and have beats to them? Like that's shit that goes on Reddit, I bet.
I have no idea what is sadder. I'm gonna say Coke, the Coke thread.
Yeah,
the Coke thread.
I think so.
At least in the McDonald's thread, like you could find some level of value, maybe like a coupon or some like giveaway, or you could something. There's nothing.
Tim just admitted he didn't know how to save a draft on Twitter in terms of saving tweets. Do you think he knows how to get online coupons for Coke and or McDonald's products? Give me a break. He needs to give his head a shake. Get off that. Let's talk about the field, though. Let's go to the very top of the board. Rory Mcilroy coming off a 59 watch on Sunday. Great weekend at Hamilton. He is now the co-favorite of the U.S. Open with Dustin Johnson. They're both 8-1. Brooks is 9-1. Tiger is 12-1. You had alluded to the big four. These are the big four.
Yeah.
I am not going to be betting any of the big four.
Nor will I. This Rory number might have even been slashed in half because I swear to
He
God.
was 12 last week.
Oh.
That I saw. He may have been higher.
I might have even seen people's. Maybe people were like, oh my God, if he has a bad week, maybe I can get a 16. You're right. So maybe that.
But it really worked out in our favor, though.
Yeah, everything.
I talked about this. Did you listen to the House show?
I love that. I love House.
Show's the best.
Yeah.
But this is exactly what we had mentioned on the show. If Rory's the big outlier, because if Rory wins,
Everyone bumps.
everyone bumps.
Yeah.
Everyone bumps down. Like Brooks
Even
went
Brooks
from
and-
7 to 9. Dustin stayed the same. Tiger stayed at 12. But it's like the next level guys
Bumps.
all got to push down. So I feel like this really worked out in our favor.
Very much works out in our favor. Am I scared of Rory? Because Rory can be amazing, but
It's
as
funny, I still like Rory the
Yeah.
least of these four guys.
as alluded with Tim, yeah, I don't feel like the harder setups. These just don't seem the tournaments that he wins. And in fact, the stats show like he runs away when he wins. And
Yeah, unless
yes, he can go all Brooks and like he's Rory and go Kiowa on us, but I'm not there. I don't see it. Of the big four, Pat, the only one I would really think about betting, and it's probably not who you think.
I'm going to say you probably want to bet Tiger.
It is Tiger Woods. I am enamored with the fact that the quest for 16 begins for real at Pebble Beach. I say that because I think we all agree in our heart of hearts, and even I don't remember if it was with you or my bold take for Bethpage was he will miss the cut. Just it all lined up for it not to work.
Yeah.
What you needed to succeed there, the fact that he hadn't really picked up competitive clubs since the Masters, it all lined up for an ugly one. But oh baby, I think we are steamrolling to that pre-Masters form, Pat. He missed the cut. He got his 2 rounds in at Bethpage. Ugly, whatever, throw them out. Then he goes to the Memorial, and he progressively played better every single day, nibble by nibble. Everything started to look like what we know it should look like. And correct me, what was the event he played before the Masters?
The player. He played the match play, but he played the players before that.
And it almost was the exact same, like
And
every
he
day
played
there.
Well. He played well at the match play too.
Yeah, and every day go like better and better. And I know match play statistics are a little like more goofier, or they're kind of maybe a little
They don't
different.
even have them.
Yeah, but every day you saw like the progression. So to me, everything we saw before the Masters, I think like it's lining up kind of the same. And I am of the opinion that the two things, scrambling and give or take a few yards on either side of 150, but that will be the most important thing guys will have to do this week. I love Tiger Woods. I will not be making the bet because I'm at the stage where I'd rather just make a full card.
It's more fun that way, for one thing.
And listen,
And
if Tiger's
and
in
if
it
you
Sunday,
lose, you lose.
I get.
We're baked into Tiger because if he wins, we're going to be happy
Yeah,
either way.
yeah.
We don't need to bet on him.
Yeah,
it's like if I bet on Jim Furyk, like I need to have money on him to care if Jim Furyk wins.
That's sort of
I'm
it.
not
So
betting
I'm always,
on. Maybe I will bet on him.
I'm always on Team Tiger, but I truly feel the quest is officially on now, 416, and I think this course sets up near perfect for him.
Okay, so how about the boring brothers? Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka. Brooks has won 2 consecutive U.S. Opens. He won the last major. He now has 4 overall. Dustin returns to the scene of the crime, where he really should have won the 2010 U.S. Open at Pebble Beach, in sterling Pebble Beach track record. So when we talk about like these shorter hitters that find fairways, Dustin's going to club down and find every fairway. Same as Brooks. Brooks played the Pebble Beach once. He came inside the top 10. So what do you do with these two? Because I feel like they should still, like, I'm surprised Koepka went from 7 to 9 just because Rory won.
There seems to be at least, which is funny. I don't know how like the general public feels it.
I honestly think people forget about Brooks until Saturday of a major and he's winning.
The thing is, there does seem to be a bit of a vibe out there, even before last week, that like, and I'm going to own it because I'm on it, that I'm not looking to pick. I'm not playing like a Dustin v. Brooks head to head. I think if I had to pick one, it might be Dustin. Granted, Brooks is an actual closer. Well, Dustin would have 3 U.S. Opens if like 2010 wasn't whatever, right?
You don't 3-putt 18 or the 72nd hole at Chambers. You probably at least have a shot at winning that one.
We should have 3 U.S. Opens in a Wanamaker.
Feel like,
And you could argue one of those St. Andrews weekends.
here's a
Let's
better
stop
bet.
that.
Like I know I usually take the first round leaders like 100 to 1 and beyond, and you can definitely see that. Dustin Johnson has been inside the top 6 of the U.S. Open first round leaderboard for the past 5 years. Like I'll even go look up what his numbers are right now in terms of first round leader, but he's 8 to 1 to win this tournament. I bet she's like 10 to 1 to be first round leader. I think that's a better bet.
If Brooks Koepka wins this one, Pat,
I don't see first round leader odds.
if Brooks Koepka wins this one, I'll say, and maybe people can throw mud on my face, it's the greatest achievement. This course for him, of all of them. This course is so different.
I don't know. Last year was pretty.
This course is so different than those other courses. The 4 courses he has his majors at all have a very similar profile.
Yeah, they're bomber tracks.
This would like blow that out of the water, and like this would, I mean, it can't be more en fuego than Brooks Koepka. This to me would take it to like an extremely new level to go here. And I'll be honest, we saw it at the Masters, of course, that a lot of people weren't, I mean, he's so talented, he could take that place apart, but a lot of people were more like, didn't have that Masters confidence that he'll play so well there, like they would blindly at places that the USGA and the PGA of America decide to go to. And he went to the Masters and was freaking amazing. So I'm not doubting he can be freaking amazing. He doesn't like California. We almost know Brooks doesn't show up till Florida. Once he established himself on tour, he's like, no, my schedule, I'll show up at the Tournament of Champions because I'm a champion.
And then I'll go to the Middle East and collect my $1 million paydays.
And then I'll see you in Florida, right? That's essentially what has become of champion Brooks Koepka's schedule.
Sure. And we've rarely seen him like, he played really well Colonial, I think 2 years ago it was when Rose won. But
it's amazing that
he doesn't play a ton of these like really short venues, so it's really hard to get a gauge on where he's at. Punter threw this out yesterday that like he's off Rory because Rory won last week.
Well, I'm off Rory because I don't think it works.
I don't think that he's going to win, so that's why I'm off him as well.
Guys win before the U.S. Open, though.
Do they? I mean, I don't think anyone ever has done it, so that would probably be in. Again, the whole thing is, would you have been happier if he shot 80? Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get like how that can factor in. Like, Graham McDowell won in his start before the U.S. Open before winning in 2010. It wasn't the week before; it was 2 weeks before. He just didn't play the week before. Tiger won in his start before winning the 2000 U.S. Open.
So didn't I just say that?
No, but he didn't play the week before.
Oh, sorry. The guys that are winning the majors, for the most part, have these outstanding results leading into them. Not necessarily winning, but it feels like in many perspectives you cannot. And even to the point, I know Pebble isn't the driving course that the other U.S. Opens are, but the driving stats of the guys that have all gone on the week before that they've won the U.S. Open were all like insane in driving statistics also.
It's interesting. Anyway, I throw out that can't win the week before just because I think a lot of this is completely random. Like I threw back like no one named Patrick has ever won the U.S. Open, so therefore it would just cross some more guys off. Then like it's all the same nonsense.
Sorry, I took the week before. More literally, I was sort of referring to the start before. And with Tim, I referred to some Pebble Beach scoring averages. Bamford Golf has some great write-ups.
I'm glad you didn't even
that.
read my column then to see all the stuff in there. I have so many stats in there about Pebble Beach.
I'm always reading your column.
It doesn't sound like you did.
I'm always clicking.
Well, I mean, I only care about the clicks. I don't care if you read or not. But you would have found some good nuggets in there. It's up on DK Playbook right now. About historical strokes gained, both off the tee, approach, around the green, and putting as it pertains to Pebble Beach over the years. Those averages.
I listened to the show with Jeff, with House.
Yeah, that's not a write-up. I released my write-up last night. I got so much content,
last night.
Jeff.
Sorry, last night. We're here. I will. Don't. Okay, let's. We got to go on.
All right. So those 4 guys, if we had to power rank them, I'm gonna go Dustin, Tiger, Brooks, Rory.
We're identical.
Okay.
I identical, but if I had to bet it, I might go Tiger, Dustin.
Just because of the 12?
Yeah, and one guy to me is like a stone cold closer, and the other guy just who I love, but something just. I mean, let's not forget the guy couldn't close TPJ here.
Well, TPJ was unbelievable. And Dustin didn't get to play with hungover Wayne. Wayne withdrew
Oh, yeah,
on him.
Wayne withdrew.
That's a big factor here too that I don't think a lot of people we talked about with Tim, like the weather difference between February and the middle of June. Guys that are used to playing this course are used to playing like 7-hour rounds because they're playing with some scrub amateur partner in foursomes. That the rounds are just going to be slightly more different.
5?
Yeah, maybe 5 hours. Although the U.S. Open rounds tend to take a long time because it's so hard.
Time.
But it's going to be way shorter than playing with like basically me out there.
It'll take a long
putting
time,
it into the drink
especially with
every
the green manicuring. It's going to be a long one. I've been already trying to do the estimate on our cut sweat time.
How about this? We'll kick off the next tier of guys because Patrick Cantlay is there. Let's just hope he plays in the morning wave and he's not the last group out on Friday. Because our cut sweat show on Friday, by the way, it's probably going to be around 5:30, maybe 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Later.
6:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Later.
That's the one thing we didn't talk about with him. I love West Coast U.S. Opens. Yeah, maybe like 6:30, 7 to.
I know Tiger tees off at 5:10 on Thursday.
Okay, so we'll start at 7 then, ish. We'll figure it out on Thursday. Pay attention to Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. I'll post it up.
I'm just saying, Tiger tees off at 5:10 on Thursday. What time do you think Tiger's round is over on Thursday on the East Coast?
Well, I don't know. That's the whole thing. I
10
guess.
o'clock,
Yeah,
I think.
10, 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
This could wade into the waters here. That will be definitely streaming on Facebook and Periscope, by the way, if you want to watch. And I really enjoy. I think people seem to enjoy it. It's just us kind of hanging, watching the golf. You got no one to watch the golf with? Come hang with us. We'll be chatting about bets the entire time. Jeff will be stressing out because John Rahm isn't making every 35-foot putt. Be like, oh, he should have made it.
No.
You'll just be having a fucking meltdown the entire time. I don't know if it's going to be on YouTube. That's why I say this. Because I know most people do watch it on
Twitter,
YouTube.
though. It'll
It'll be on Twitter and Facebook for sure. But if people are looking for it, just because it's not on YouTube doesn't mean it's not happening if people want to tune in. Patrick Cantlay, 20-1. Jordan Spieth, 20-1. Justin Rose and Ricky Fowler, 25-1. Xander and Rahm, 28-1. Justin Thomas, 30-1. Jason Day, Tommy Fleetwood, Francesco Molinari, Tim's pick, Adam Scott, 33-1. Hideki Matsuyama, 35-1. I have 2 bets in this range already. And I jumped the gun on one of them, but I waited on the other one. And I'm glad I did because I got 5 extra points on it. My pick to win at least one of my bets to win the U.S. Open this year is Justin Thomas. Second, tee to green at the RBC Canadian Open a week ago. Guy could not hit a putt. We waited to see if he was going to be healthy or not. I got it at 28, then I re-upped a little bit at 30 just because I didn't want to miss out on the 30 number. But I'm not concerned about Justin Thomas's putting. Like, he's one of the better putters. He had a bad week. It happens to everyone. But only behind Rory, tee to green. I worry about his lack of Pebble experience. He played it once. He missed the cut. He has one weighted round at this course. But if you just start looking at it long-term, he rates out best in the field. He is the premier par 4 player on the PGA Tour. He drives it accurately, especially when he clubs down. He had a bunch of fairways this week at the Canadian Open where you needed to. He's the best approach player on tour. He is immaculate. He has the touch around the greens, an excellent par 3 player as well, and get him going putting, which he normally does. And he has the whole Brooks narrative of coming off that wrist injury. What did Brooks do in his first start back from the wrist injury? He won the U.S. Open. Justin Thomas will too. 30-1.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you before you get to your second guy here.
Do you know who the second guy is?
No.
You didn't read my column. That's why.
You posted it last. I went to bed.
Oh, come
Sunday
on.
nights suck.
You
and
wanted to talk golf. I saw you post it out there.
No, like I wanted to talk because like I wanted to record the show last night.
Oh.
Like
we started sleep training with the baby
Yeah, I
last
know, I
night.
know.
So, I've been up for like 24 hours.
I'm being honest. That was such just a selfish like attempt on my part because as the world knows, Toronto might explode tonight, and I just didn't want to like. I wanted to just not like in and out of the downtown core. So I wanted to like come in last night and then do stuff later in the day with you, and then we would go and have as the Raptors prepare to maybe be NBA champions, which is beyond surreal.
I'm recording with Raza and Rick tomorrow morning. I might be in rough shape if the Raptors.
The streets might be in rough shape.
That's true. Hopefully we don't get trash in here. Someone doesn't come in and steal my Rocky Horror Picture Show poster behind you.
No, we're like enough off the beaten path where like the looting I don't think will reach. I mean, we're in the core.
Pretty close.
No, we are in the core. But I mean like where this office is actually like this room is located, I feel like they'll avoid us.
So where are you going? Are you on me with Thomas?
I want to just make a case for Thomas. I have not hit it yet, but 30-1.
I know. Isn't
for
it weird?
Justin Thomas, the thing that has me the most, Pat. I mean, you mentioned all the stats, and they are great. but to me, it is about one of them. It is that tee to green stat. And what do we know about Justin? That doesn't like show up for 1 week. Justin does tee to green domination, and it runs. When was it earlier in the year? It was amazing he couldn't win. He gagged, was it Riviera? What did he gag? He gagged Riviera to JB Holmes.
So he was
unconscious in Phoenix, and he gagged. Tell me about it.
Yeah, Tournament of Champions, he gained over 10 strokes on approach, came third because he lost strokes putting that week. At Sony, he came 16th. It was a pretty week. At Waste Management, he gained 8.4 strokes putting, but Ricky gained 12 strokes on approach. Ricky gained 12 strokes putting.
And then we went to Riv.
Genesis, the next week, gained 6 strokes on approach, and then he hurt his wrist, and he went in the tank. But then he rebounds last week. 3 off the tee, 4 on approach, 3 around the green, lost 3.5 putting. Second in the field, 9.5 strokes tee to green. He's back, he's healthy, and I think that actually playing Hamilton last week is going to turn out to be an advantage.
Do you remember going into Honda? We were like scared to bet the tournament because of his, and that's where it all sort of, you mentioned, I think that's where the injury happened, and that's sort of where it all sort of fell off the wheels for a bit.
He hurt his wrist.
But that whole run, how he couldn't find a way to pull a win in that segment. And to me, when he's showing form in that stat, it is not a week to week thing with him. And it's not week to week that it's like in the positives. It's a run of being literally like top 3 in the field in this statistic. As I mentioned, it after scrambling, it is probably the most important thing to me. So that alone has me so intrigued by Dustin.
And they're hanging a number up there. And even on DraftKings, like he should be priced as a top 5 guy in this field. Just based on his talent, his track record. He won that PGA Championship in a very difficult Quail Hollow where it was a longer course, obviously. But when you saw the names that were at the very top of that, I mean, that could be somewhat of a crossover event as well, only because like Molinari was up there, Justin Thomas was up there, Brian Stewart, Chris Stroud, like those type of guys, along with Louis, like good around the green players, guys that don't hit it a ton, but hit it a bunch of fairways and score on par 4s really well. So it feels like his number, like, I like Patrick Cantlay.
I'm shocked because I saw you put it out last night that it didn't drop.
What?
The JT, that it actually got to 30.
I thought it was going to get to like 20.
25, yeah. And like they're going to post it higher than Rahm and Ricky and even...
But listen, I like Patrick Cantlay. Patrick Cantlay is great. I know a lot of people are on him this week, and he's a California guy.
He got great numbers.
But there's no world where I'm betting Patrick Cantlay at 20-1 when Justin Thomas is 30-1.
Here's the thing with Cantlay. Aaron knows... props to everybody that had the cojones to throw that out there at the Memorial. Which essentially feels like the same number here. And we sort of joked after the PGA Championship ended, and it was like a consensus that he is now the guy that's going to be amazing in majors. And I think like whatever that site had like a 66 for a little bit till it got hammered once they realized the PGA Championship had ended and everyone's crushing it. Gets to 30. We're sort of sitting here laughing like, how can that get lower? He literally has to win for that to get lower.
And then he finally won of an event, and now he's 20.
His confidence has to be through the ceiling. He's even making like internet videos now. Like one win, the guy's like a personality, and we're all big fans. I like him. This number though is painful. On the other side of that, if he does win the U.S. Open, it'll sort of feel like, well, yeah. I mean, look how well he was playing. Like all signs pointed to him winning the U.S. Open.
It's nothing against Cantlay. It's something against this number where. I put it this way, if you had to like get me to power rank talent, Cantlay's in the mix with all of these guys that are behind them, but you're getting 10 to 15 more points. Like realistically, who's a better player? Patrick Cantlay or Hideki? I think that's open for debate. You could land on either side of it. Maybe Cantlay will end up being the far superior player when all is said and done, but we're talking about it right now. I'm not betting Hideki, but I would bet Hideki at 35 before Cantlay at 20.
The other thing is I bet you even people that love Cantlay today would have bet Hideki to have a better Sunday than him 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, likely.
Like Hideki was I think Cantlay had like 1 or 2 strokes on him, but like, I don't know if people had to bet that day. They might have been more inclined to even pick Hideki. Now 5 hours can change a lot, or a back 9. And confidence is king. And to me, I would always come on here much, it's almost like the Fino joke is done because the guy actually wanted a real tournament. Like we got to make the joke for 2 weeks that he had the 20-1s. And then he actually cashed a premier non-major event. So it is quite incredible. And this is a guy, Pat, he doesn't scramble. I mean, his scrambling numbers are great this year, but part of them being great is he doesn't have to.
Yeah, he just hit screens in regulation. And no one is going to do that this week. No matter how good your irons are and how quality they are coming in, even how well you play during the week, everyone, at best, you're going to hit 70%. More than likely, you're going to hit like 55 to 60% if you're having a good week. So you got to be able to get up and
Now, I'm like that Fry Festival guy staring at people who have those like Cantley 66s. Because that is like
there's a
gold.
lot of them out there. Listen,
they're everywhere.
If it was 50,
not in my pendings.
If it was 50 to 1, I would bet it too. But it's 20 to 1. I don't have it, so I'm not betting it.
I think it was 40 to 1. You'd probably bet it. I think it was in the mid 30s. You'd start having that debate.
I'd probably talk myself out of it. But the one thing that I worry about is that everyone has this Cantley ticket. Therefore, it means it cannot win because that always happens. When was the last time everyone had a ticket and it won? With Danny Willett at the Masters?
I don't know, man. Community wins they don't exist anymore.
They so rarely have.
It felt like everyone had, not us, but at Xander at the Masters at that crazy number that one site was offering.
We didn't have access to that book. Yeah. When Hadwin won at 100 to 1, it felt like a lot of people had that at Valspar.
Yeah.
But at a major?
Okay, but let me make this point then with Cantley. And I'm not betting it. But 20 to 1 to win a major, if you sort of take like a 2.5, 3 year run here,
you just bet him to win them all?
No,
is what you're saying?
My point being isn't a bad winning number.
No, it's fine. It's
like
a great winning
the
number.
Numbers that have won the tickets, that have won the majors, is my point. Like 20 to 1 would actually rank pretty well in the
especially for the US Open, mainly because over the past 10 years there's only been one winner who was beyond 50 to 1.
Keimer.
Graham McDowell. Keimer won the Players like 3 weeks before. So he was like 35 to 1 or something like that. But Graham McDowell was like 55 or 60 to 1 when he won. Lucas Glover was a huge long shot at Bethpage in 2009 when he won. Other than that, like the favorites are cleaning up.
I mean, it's Brooks, it's Dustin, it's Spieth. Who did I forget? Keimer.
Rose.
There's no mistakes here, man.
Webb was 40 to 1 when he won.
Yeah, there are no mistakes here.
So someone from this range is going to win, like the guys that probably going to win. Do you worry that like we've seen a TPJ and we've seen a Vaughn Taylor win at Pebble Beach, that this course is susceptible to these weird shorter hitting hot putter guys? Or is the US Open just completely, the setup will just take those guys out of it?
Because of this course, those guys have way more life. Like, put it this way. I wouldn't even have wanted to waste a second of them at like Erin Hills or Shinnecock or any of those courses. But because this course, they all have life. They all have life, and maybe there'll be great opportunities to catch some big each ways.
I was thinking more like top 20s.
Okay, yeah.
Sure. I don't know if I want to bet these guys to win. Like, I think I'd rather, whatever the each way is, I think I'd rather just sacrifice whatever the winning number is and just put double my bet on a top 10 or a top 20.
I think guys
because there is a guy that I think is going to come inside the top 10, yet I think he has no chance of winning. We'll get to him down the list, but I think you know who it is. Guess right now. Who do you think it is?
Danny Willett.
It's going to be Louis Oosthuizen.
Oh.
I think Louis is going to play really well this week, but I think he has zero chance of winning.
The way you teed that up. But no, and that's fair. And I think there's a lot of guys that have that. And we got to make the joke after you cash in each ways, or some of them that paid more than Brooks to win the PGA.
Yeah, like Brooks to win the PGA was what, 10 to 1?
Yeah.
11 to 1?
We'll call it 10, 11.
We'll call it 10, 11. We cashed a Luke List each way for 40 to 1.
Now, granted, my exposure to that bet was not nearly the same.
But it doesn't have to be because it's 40 to 1.
And people who bet on Brooks won a lot of money that week. The each way just kind of broke my week even, but still.
That broke your week even? You weren't up after that? It's 40 to 1.
It was a little high, but yeah, I don't know. It was a major once you find everything that's in there.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, back to this range. I'd rather bet Spieth than bet Cantley. I think Spieth is Tim put him on the card.
Yeah.
I'm not betting Spieth, but I think he's like, I'm so terrified he's going to come out and just be awesome.
I'm self-aware enough to be freaking terrified.
He's a scary guy.
And I admitted many times, I bet him at the Pro-Am this year. So obviously for a guy that doesn't like Spieth, I knew that this course really could work for him. And yes, Phil won the Pro-Am, but I want to say Friday night, which means nothing. But if you had to, like a lot of people, I think he was the betting favorite.
He was. Then he put like 2 in the ocean.
But yeah, no, I'm I don't care to bet it, but it's all kind of happening there.
So do
And
you have
scrambling and
the chipping in, the putting? It's all back. So yeah,
and you could tell he bought a new bag of magic beans.
So there's three guys here actually I have like no interest in: Rose, Rahm, or Fowler. Not to say they can't win, just I'm not kind of into it. Xander.
I'm very interested in spending time looking at that.
That's not where I went. Do you know who the guy I went with is?
Tommy Fleetwood.
Jason Day.
He profiles very well for Pebble Beach. It's a 33-1.
He's come second and fourth here the past 2 years. In the past 5 years, he has no finishes worse than T11 in the Pro-Am. And when I went back and looked at it, one of the things that I really liked about Jason Day is he's really terrible with his irons. This is very much known, but he's still pretty good off the tee. He's one of the best putters.
But he's going to scramble the lights out. He
His
profiles the winner.
His around the green numbers aren't really all that good this year, but I'm not too concerned about that because we know how good he is around the green.
If he's going to win, he's going to have that week, and he's surely capable of having it.
He plays difficult courses really, really well, but I look at where he's actually gained on approach so far this year. It's only been 3 times. He gained to the PGA Championship and came T23, which is just really weird. Somehow that broke out. But the other 2 spots, out of like 8 events, he has 3 strokes gained on approach positive performances. One is at Pebble, and the other one is at Players. What do those 2 courses have in common? They're short courses. He's not hitting his long iron super well. He's not Henrik Stenson. He's not, jarring it from 200 yards and 225 out. But you get him 150 and in, Jason Day, all of a sudden, like Louis in that sense, they have the short games in case they miss, but they are better with their irons from the key iron ranges this week. I like Jason Day a lot. 33-1 is a really good number.
I like Day and Schauffele were sort of the guys with my question marks. Xander's numbers are all pointing to this piece of fruit being so ripe for picking Pat.
He's played 2 U.S. Opens.
He is
come
not
5th. He's come 6th, and he missed the cut when he played at Pebble. With the day that he played Pebble, he gained the most strokes total on average of any player in this field, 3.6. Brooks is second.
Yes, that is also the funny thing about the one round.
It's also one round.
Round, but it's sort of like Woodland-esque in that he got onto Pebble and he played it incredibly well. He's a California kid. I'm hoping this could be maybe a big week for San Diego State as they'll get an NBA Finals MVP and a U.S. Open champion.
I worry that he's not great around the greens.
He's got to hit them then.
He's not going to hit them all. It gets back to the Stenson conversation. If you told me that Stenson was just going to be 100% greens in regulation, he'd win. But he's not going to be, and then he's going to make quadruple bogey trying to chip it onto the green.
Well, oh my God, Stenson, when he gets out of position, it
is
feels
just
like
horrible.
there is no lifeline that's coming your way.
No,
there's
cooked.
no.
He misses
lifeline.
the fairway, it's a bogey. Misses the green,
Every
it might
time.
be a double. Like, as someone who has bet on him 5 consecutive weeks,
you're right.
And watch him be like, 15 feet, 15 feet, 15 feet, 15 feet, double bogey. It's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Just learn how to, you used to be able to chip. What's happened to you?
I want to get back to the Cantley thing because part of me is so scared that the confidence of hitting all those like 15 footers, because I swear to God, for a year, this guy is lying to for 15 feet for birdie and he wouldn't hit them.
Mm-hmm.
And now he hit them. I get there could concerns with Xander, but I think for the most part, he's statistically,
he's excellent. I think that he's going to do very well this week. And I can definitely see betting him at 28-1. I chose Thomas.
I think that gets higher, actually.
I don't know if it will. There's not like a ton of juice.
I'm shocked that last night when you I looked at it last night, you said Thomas 28-1. I was pretty sure that probably drops to a 25. But
it goes to 30.
I thought on the other side of that, Xander would be like, if one of them was going to get to 30 today, both at 28 yesterday, when you thought it would have been Xander just because he's not as, I mean, he's like, I don't know, he's pretty underrated, right? I mean, he hasn't won he's won a lot,
He's
but
won 4 times. He's won a WGC. He's won the Tournament of Champions.
He's
won a
still
Tour Championship. He comes top 10 at every major.
But he's underrated.
I agree.
I mean, comparing him to a guy that I love and like Ricky Fowler or even other ones.
Compare him to Cantlay. Who's a better player? It's probably Xander. He has had substantially more success.
And even I said, I know it got brought to my attention, but even the week before the Memorial, CBS runs a board advertising it, listing like 15 players. He's not on it.
There is a really sneaky guy in all of this.
I don't think it's Molinari.
It's not Molinari. And everyone's basically given up on him. They want nothing to do with him. But
Bryson? Or we passed that? At Fleetwood, then.
he's won twice.
I'm naming everyone.
And you haven't named him yet. He's won twice in California. I think he basically top 10s at an 85% clip in California.
Wrong.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
And he has a top 10 at Pebble, too.
Red Ink has not gone through his name yet.
I'm just so...
The temperament on a demand...
It's not even that. It's just every time I bet on him, he misses the fucking cut. Every single time. It's uncanny.
To me, John Rahm is going... And it'll happen sooner, but he is like going to be Peyton Manning because there's this thing that he cannot win the big one. But the moment he wins the big one, he will forever be someone you fear winning the big one. Yes, his wins are on California, the POA grass, the nonstop T10ing. Nonstop. It's almost like
Dude's 24 years old, by the way.
Yeah. Trust me, I know that. I do not make conclusions about Jon Rahm. The only conclusion I draw about Jon Rahm is he will win everything one day. And he will be the number one player in the world. And he won't be the number one player for a world for a Justin Rose summer.
You really hate Justin Rose.
No, I'm just saying.
You know what? I hope Justin Rose wins and Spieth comes in second. Just to spite you. See how you deal with that.
Happy Father's Day. Jesus, gross. And that's very possible, though. They both...
Yeah, I don't want to bet them, but...
I think people are unfairly discounting Rahm, and they blindly go to the temperament thing. I'm going to say unequivocally, even with the Players' Championship, his temperament is so much better.
And once we get down to it, we both bet on a guy who's just as big of a hothead.
Well, that's like 100 points more, though.
It's more than 100 points more, sure. Your boy, little Ricky.
Okay, there are two guys I want to talk about in the sense that Hideki has never played here, ever. That's a bit of a concern. Ricky hasn't played here since like 11 or 12, but I'm going to attribute that to a couple of things here.
He always plays Farmers.
He always plays Farmers because that's a sponsorship. And I want to say for X amount of years, he's done the overseas stuff because he's Ricky Fowler and he can demand it. And he's been doing it. He does the Abu Dhabi, the Dubai, that sort of...
me and Ricky got like the same haircut.
That sort of run here. What concerns me, everything that I think requires from the winner at Pebble Beach, he does outstanding. If I had to gun to my head, who is that guy that can go 50 of 51 from inside 10 feet? My first guess is Ricky Fowler.
You got to give me 40-1 at least on Ricky.
But he does not. That's ridiculous.
Why is that ridiculous?
Because 40-1 is.
Why is that ridiculous?
It's fine. No, you're not getting true numbers on anybody. And but Ricky's the guy you're demanding a true number from.
His number might be the most ridiculous of all these guys.
I'm not debating that with you. He doesn't have any course history. That is a big concern.
I'm not that concerned about it. No.
Well, the other part of it is they're not afraid, or maybe they're less afraid. But I would say his lack of course history is simply because of how the schedule pans out with Phoenix, with overseas. But scrambling at an absolute premium. My biggest concern for Ricky is the irons don't seem to be there. And I was so keen on, was it Memorial?
Yeah, when we
had that stat that we could bounce back here for Richard Jung.
Long term, he rates out much better than he does short term.
You would need a 40 to put money on him.
I would need 40 to consider it. I probably still wouldn't do it because I don't think he's going to win.
Listen, that's the ultimate thing here. People I got this great number. Nothing matters if
it's like that. It's like when we talk about Louis. I think Louis is going to play well this week. I don't think he's going to win. And I do this to myself all the time. I bet a bunch of losers who I don't think are going to win because I want those each way odds. And I definitely think they can come inside the top 5. And if they come inside the top 5, they do have a chance at winning, more than likely. So then I'll feel like an idiot if I don't do it, but I got to stop doing that, I think. Ricky's irons were fine at Memorial, by the way. He actually played well at Memorial. T14. One shot better than Bjorn Hanan. So
I actually think this week can work for him. It will be magical.
I think he could be fine. That's great. I don't think he's going to win. Are you going to bet him?
I've told you
Oh, yeah, you already
last
have the
week.
number.
There's the
That's right.
bet that's in there,
I
and it's
forgot
just,
about
but it's old money, so it feels like it's not even on the card.
So
Just this death ticket that's just been burning a hole.
Molinari, Fleetwood, Scott, Hideki. I'm out on-
Hideki would be the one I like the most.
I would say Molinari would be the one I like the most.
I'm not seeing enough there, and we saw last year it was like the form. It was almost like Cantley-esque form, where it's like, yeah, of course he won. Look what was happening.
I think you're getting a nice number on Molinari here. He should be higher.
Agreed, but I haven't seen enough good.
Bad at Charles Schwab on the weekend. But before that, it was just putting. Guy couldn't putt. And we know he can't putt, but when he does, he tends to be pretty good. He plays these short courses really
I
well.
just feel like all the great Molinari moments we've seen
Coming.
in the last year, you all outside of I'll say Wentworth.
I'm going to say outside of API, too.
Okay, fine. No, but I meant almost before, his extreme heater. You just sort of felt the winds blowing Molinari.
Okay. Next level, then.
You would rather bet Rahm than Ricky?
Yeah, I would. And I get more points on it. I'd rather bet Molinari over them both.
What do you think the Rahm fair number is then?
30.
So Rahm is accurately priced.
Yeah,
Essentially.
I think Rahm's around where he needs to be.
Ricky could get higher.
He could. People will bet. Ricky will be one of the top 5 guys bet on. That's why his number is where he is.
Sorry. I want to say I think it maybe.
Not a chance. You might be able to catch a 28 somewhere. Maybe someone hangs a 30. But if anything, that number drops to 22 because money's going to come in on Ricky Fowler. It's like that Tiger number probably gets to 10. Unless the books are willing to say, we don't think Tiger is going to win. That's what happened at the U.S. Open. That's actually something to watch as it pertains to Tiger. Because at the Masters, it moved. There was all that money on Tiger, and they moved that number, and they dropped him down, and he was the co-favorite. The most money of any golfer at the PGA Championship was on Tiger Woods. His number didn't move a cent.
They loved it. They knew it.
Yeah, they knew it.
They played that game.
But if you see it this week, he will be the most bet on guy this week for sure. If that number stays at 12, I'd watch out. But if it starts dropping to 10 or 9 or something
as we
that,
joked, Tiger winning the Masters might end up being the greatest thing that ever happened to those books.
Oh, yeah. Well, everyone has the money now. Let's bet on Tiger. Next range.
I don't want to leave here yet.
Oh, my God. We're an hour into the show.
It's great. People are loving it.
You're not going to bet on any of these guys.
I didn't say that.
Oh, my God.
Oh, are you asking me to move on because I'm not betting on these guys? There has to be. You cannot talk about the U.S. Open without discussing Tommy Fleetwood. Now, this course, is it just no? We went to 2 tracks that really suited him.
I think this course suits him fine. I'll play him on DraftKings.
2 years ago, where he it was 120.
I got
a huge one too at Aaron Hills.
I caught him at 160. He was one of my picks that week.
And then at Shinnecock, we still had 80s, huge numbers.
Now he's 33.
No, and he's.
I love Tommy. Hope he wins. Not betting him. Not betting him. I'm not betting Molinari. I'm not betting Scott. I'm not betting Hideki. I planted my flag in this range. JT and Jason Day. Those are going to be my guys. You? Who? Besides Ricky, because you have that.
I like Xander. I like JT.
Okay.
40. I'm actually shocked one of them went to 30 and which one went to 30, to be honest, but I like them both.
40-1 to 100-1. At the very top here, we got Bryson and Kuchar. They're both 45. You have Finau, Webb, Snedeker, and Phil. They're all 50. And as I mentioned, 50-1 and below has been the number of the winners of these events. So realistically, anyone from beyond this number that we're going to mention probably isn't going to win.
Do you think...
Although I have one bet in this range. It's Paul Casey at 55-1. And I played that with the each way.
We were talking about that off air, I want to say last week, and he gagged that Pebble to Phil this year. He seems to be a prototype Pebble.
He is the best player in the field at hitting it long and straight, is what I'll say. He doesn't really excel. He's great with his irons, and he has this course kind of figured out with 2 top 10s in a row, a second place finish at Pebble Beach. But
as long and straight a stat.
Well, I just weighted fairways gained and driving distance gained. So when you kind of look at it, Casey's the only one who rates out the best guys.
Where would Schauffele be in something like that?
Now I gotta look up Xander.
No. If he's not near the top, I don't want to hear it.
Xander is 97th in fairways gained, and he's not in 23rd in driving distance gained. And now, a lot of these bombers are going to improve their accuracy, but they're going to lose some distance. Casey and Molinari seem to be the two guys that, and Casey to an extent a bit more, that he hits it well above average, and he's one of the straighter players on tour.
I am not afraid at all. The injury was like a flu, right?
Yeah, he had the flu. He's seventh in fairways gained, 34th in driving distance.
I am to Paul Casey what happens when you bet John Rahm, I guess.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm not the only
am I.
one. I feel like, yeah, we're all sort of, there's a huge consortium of that. Paul Casey at 55-1 might be the best true bet on the board.
Yeah.
I know that like might literally someone just spit out their coffee.
Well, once you start getting into this next level of guys like Woodland 75, Lowry 60, Matt Wallace 80, like give me Casey.
Again, I've said this before with Casey, but like pound for pound to me, that 55 might be one of the best hooks out here.
That should be the one where I'm.
And do you want to know the
the
last time I made that exact statement was the Players?
And he put it.
He
put it into the water twice on 17. What do you do? He missed the cut.
He was
a disaster at the Masters too.
Yeah, but I was not even part. The Players I thought was like perfect. Paul Casey week. I thought it was the bet on the board. Obviously, you guys watch long enough. I know nothing. And we don't hide from that, by the way.
Did people say that you do?
No, I
feel like I'm pretty open with how terrible I am at picking
I
balls.
don't think we make any misnomers as to what goes on here. It's Monday morning and we're yucking through the board.
Yeah.
That's what happens here.
Kuchar, Snedeker, and Webb, I think, are going to be popular plays. I like Webb the best of those three guys. I'm sneakily thinking about betting Webb. I liked how he played. Although his short game really abandoned him.
On Sunday. Sunday. But he was out there with Rory, right?
Yeah.
That's
just getting steamrolled.
You just get like, you got run over.
I was able to construct a DraftKings round 4 showdown lineup that had Rory and didn't cash. It's a good lineup. When Seb Straka shoots 6 over, you're done for. So who are your guys in this range? I'll tell you who do you want me to tell you who I'm looking at?
Well, you know I'm Woodland, but I have Woodland from the summer.
How much?
It's the Christmas. And it's like 125 or 150.
Okay.
The Open Championship Woodland might be the 150 one. US Open Woodland could be 125. Again, I am here. Gary Woodland, if he could just shoot, I don't want him to peak early.
You don't want him to be 4 under after 8 holes?
No, that's the worst Woodland. I just want steady Gary and then like weekend hot. But Gary that like peaks in high school, I don't want that Gary. Peaking too early in life in some of these tournaments, Gary. But I'm a slut for Gary Woodland again for the 100th time. If Gary Woodland was a stock, I would buy it. That's not a thing, so I'll invest in him at major championships.
You should just be spending that money on like Bitcoin or something like that. Buy some weed stocks.
Tony Finau being at 50 finally seems fair.
It's fair. I agree. It's fair.
Like we're finally like, oh, okay.
Are you going to bet it? No.
No, I'm not. You asked me about Phil. I'm not betting Phil.
I just want to talk about Phil for a second. Is this the last shot he has to win the U.S. Open?
I'm happy you brought that up. I will agree.
Now, what about, as Tim would say, his phantom U.S. Open win when he didn't play at Erin Hills, which, according to Tim, he definitely would have won somehow.
Yes. Tim is hoping that the producers of the Golf Channel 2-part Phil Mickelson career miniseries will spend Erin Hills making it like there have been ones that gotten away. That will be a full chapter of the Phil Mickelson story.
Putting it into the garbage can at Wingfoot probably is giving away a U.S. Open.
But he did not give away.
Your boy, Geoff Ogilvy.
Yeah, he did not give away Erin Hills. He said, "Uncle, I'm not coming." Okay? I don't care about his daughter's graduation.
He did, though. That's why he didn't play.
That's a whole thing. That being said, that was years ago. I will not besmirch 2019 Phil Mickelson.
No, this is
who's here for us.
It was a year ago this week that it all flipped for me and Phil.
Yes,
when he just had enough. Remember how upset people were?
I thought he should have been gone.
They're not sending home Phil Mickelson.
Send him home.
And that's when he really embraced, I'm Phil Mickelson. I've been doing this privately for years, telling people to go fuck themselves because I'm Phil Mickelson. Now I'm just going to publicly embrace this and become a hero. And he was. He's been so good ever since.
He's been so good. He has been so good. It's almost, it's like his calling now.
Remember when he called out Kuchar?
He's
Driving up Magnolia Lane. I can't wait for this week. He was trying to rush when he won at Pebble. He was trying to rush Casey through, so he'd have to pay his pilot overnight for his private plane.
The best.
I think it's going to be tough for him here. However, he did come fourth here, tied with Tiger in 2010.
He won here 2 months ago.
He did it by spraying the ball off the tee.
I know,
and
but
I
I
just can't do that this time around.
I
but he's
agree.
so good around the greens.
I'm making-
He knows these greens so well. I don't think people are writing him off like he's dead here.
No.
I do not think that he's dead here.
No. I'm again, same with Spieth. I might say silly things like, because I live up to my brands, but I have I'm self-aware enough to know I'm not poking that bear.
You do have a brand. Do you think there are message boards that people go to discussing your branding?
No, they just tell me to my face and mean comments usually.
No. See, that's no fun.
But that's, I guess, without YouTube, you think Twitter comments are mean? Like, they got nothing sometimes on YouTube comments.
Oh, see, I never read the YouTube comments, so that really, I used to do that like 4 or 5 years ago. I had learned, let's just not do this.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be gained from this. YouTube people, not the most positive people in the world. Not going to lie to you. Hate everything. Very triggered. But no, I was thinking about like Tim, he's on the Coke message board, their brand, the McDonald's message board, their brand. He could be on a Geoff Fienberg branding message board. Talk about like hair products and stuff like that. Sweet kits, hair products.
On the kits, see nothing. Nothing.
So does that excite you for what is potentially going to come?
No, my point being, I've seen nothing I like. I've seen a bunch of them.
Are you going to be like that guy who was at the French Open who dressed like the Japanese tennis player? You'll just show up dressed like Ricky at some point?
No. I just am not impressed. I wasn't impressed at the last major. I'm not impressed with what I'm seeing. And I'm one of these marks that'll go out and like buy that shirt if I like it, but I don't like it.
Let's talk about all this range. Here are the guys that I'm interested in betting. I have not bet. I've only bet Paul Casey. Webb Simpson is one of them. Patrick Reed at 80-1 is one of them. I mentioned Louis. I'll probably just top 10 him. And I guess I've thrown out Stenson. I've talked myself out of Stenson.
There were 90s on the weekend.
There was. It's 60-1 now for Stenson. And the other two are like Kuchar and Snedeker, who I just think are going to be very popular bets. But probably not for me. What about Bryson? Is he just playing too garbage right now?
What were those Memorial numbers as a defending champion?
I think they were 30.
I mean, like even the form though, because Bryson's the guy you just hope to see the system working on the weekend so you can bet him next time out.
He also might be just a good live bet. Like if you see that it's working for him, just get on him.
But if it's working early, then I would get nervous he's going to win, hence your live bet comment. But I don't know. I don't think it just happens. I think you see it.
He doesn't have a finish better than 22nd, which he had at Memorial. I guess at the Players he was 20th. So nothing inside the top 20 since the Genesis in February.
He's a form guy to me. And you see it and you ride it and you like literally strap on like you're riding a bull. But
like with max power? You don't
sure.
snuggle with max power. You strap yourself in and feel the G's.
So if you see Bryson come to life Sunday, then you get really excited for the next tournament. But as we sit here now, I don't know, Pat. I would rather pay the price on I'd rather lose 10 points and bet like a Hideki, a Fleetwood a day. I would really suck it up and bet 10 extra bucks or 15, like make my bet a little bigger and not go there. Or even stick the guys behind.
Yeah, I think Stenson's short game is too bad. Like I said, when I sorted by strokes gained around the green, if anyone is in the bottom 90, they're just getting crossed off the list. Here's some guys in that pool, like in case you were thinking about betting them. And they're a bit deeper on the board. Like Finau is one of those guys. You can probably cross off Keegan, JB Holmes.
Who's number one?
In strokes gained around the green? Bjorn Hane.
I know, like loser.
Oh,
like,
Daniel Hauscherberger.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Berger, Hoagie, Kisner, Straka, Beauregard, Hautong are your bottom six. And your boy, Chesson Hadley. Big shocker.
Not a shock.
So anyone else here? You got your Lowrys, your Graham McDowells, your Sergios.
Matt Wallace is I just think his makeup, but again,
It's
I don't know
weird-
that he's actually going to win.
And like you said, you can find him at like 150.
I saw a book posting a 150, so maybe this is the range you really got to shop with. I mean,
I'm just
granted, I'd
confused
like
about
to-
how he's 80 to 1.
Like he shouldn't be. He should be closer to 150 on the normal books,
Is this
right?
because he came tied for third at the PGA Championship when he made every putt?
Maybe. I don't know. I like his demeanor. And if you look at the past opens here,
Mhm.
you take out like Tiger Woods, it is Euro, 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 Euro.
Graham McDowell and Gregory Avray came over to try to win the National Open of the
I think
America.
Ernie Els, he's not Euro, but I kind of like will throw
International.
him international guy. You know, they have they're more likely to weather play links courses or courses that are
Bad with
tighter
weather,
and,
yeah.
and there's more hosels of
Yeah.
shit
I like
to hit out
I
of.
like the Yehos.
So I see lots of Euros when you look at it. You know what? That's actually a great point. You mentioned Mr. Havre. For anyone that may be afraid of a guy never having played here before, Gregory Havre didn't. Him in second
And that's why
place?
that's where I think that we're talking about winners as well, and this can apply to everything. But people are going to cross people like players like Avray or something like that, because when you look at the winners, win. I believe Graham McDowell was 8th in his best finish at Pebble. But those are just the winners. When you start extrapolating a little, like the top 10, all of a sudden there's guys who've never played here before.
Yes.
And you lose by 1 stroke. I mean, you could have won.
Yeah. Very, very well said.
Reed,
Interesting guy.
good at Pebble.
We're seeing
He's been absolute garbage.
he's been horrible, but he's a guy to me. I've mentioned a few guys I need to see live. If I want to bet Patrick Reed, I actually don't need life. To me, he can win without form. He's got that modern Keimer.
We
thing
almost saw Keimer do it
that-
again
that
out of
we-
nowhere.
that we joked about. Patrick Reed and the swing science has proven like his swing is so from day to day can be whatever that it's not like a Bryson thing at all, or even Molinari
Bombs.
for me.
100 to 1. We've been on Tyrrell Atten since Christmas. We picked him to win this event back at Christmas time. And I'm still gonna bet on him. I got him at 140 to 1 with the top 8 each way. I got you locked in with him at 125 to 1 with no each way. But that's where he's at right now, 125 to 1. Those are his odds. He was 140 over the weekend. He moved up. We talk about
Should I
these
cash that out and rebet it?
if you want to.
Does that make sense?
If you want to. You'll get even odds on the cash out. If you want to each way, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's sort of the prototypical player that you want. He grinds. He's excellent around the greens. He's a really good putter. He's accurate off the tee. And when you go and look at his wins, these are the types of short, windy, tough tracks that he wins at.
I think pound for pound might be in the top 5 max best links players on the planet.
Who would you throw in there?
I don't know.
Brendan
But I know
would you
he
throw
would.
Brendan Grace in
I
there?
know the guy that's won 2 out back-to-back Dunhill links and played great again there last time has to be on that list. So he's in there. Greatest links players on the planet.
6th at the U.S. Open last year, too, for Tyrrell Atten. Just very good around
He's
the
that
greens.
trigger monkey you mentioned was more than 100 points
Yes.
over John Rahm, by
Yes,
the way.
and he was exactly 100 points more. So other than that, from beyond, I do have interest in Furyk. He's just playing really, really well.
I've got a name.
So Furyk, obviously I'm betting Siwoo and Luke List because I do that. And then you talked to Danny Willett last week. We both got him at 200 to 1.
Each way or no? How far is that? Is that a 5 or an 8 though? At the 200.
The 5.
Yeah.
But it's 150 with the 8
Yeah.
or 200 with the 5, and it's 1/4 on the 200 instead of 1/5 on the 150.
You had mentioned before last week you really thought Pebble suited Danny more.
I agree.
And he goes out and shot 4 rounds at Hamilton. Not a difficult course, but 4 rounds in the 60s and gets a top 10. Apparently his first top 10, Pat, since the Masters win. It is trending in the right direction. Are we on the cusp of major number 2? I mean, it doesn't feel like it did after Doral, where he just lost to Scott or
Scott or Bubba, one of the two.
no. I don't remember.
Or Dustin. I forget.
I'm going to say, yeah, whatever. He had that great week. We were almost afraid he was going to blow that load before Augusta. It doesn't feel like we're there, but it feels like a lot of great things are happening. And
we
I
talked,
know you had mentioned like
all-
Louis might be your deep safe like T10, T20 bet. I think Danny might garner some safe attention. I don't know. I don't want to call it safe. That's so.
there's no one safe in the US Open.
No, that's really. I take that back, but I do like it.
He's been excellent around the greens. The ball striking is coming back. Can he just putt a little bit? Yeah, I think he can. And this is when we talked about him as it pertains to like majors this year, we basically wrote off the Masters. It's too long for him. The year that he won, it was super windy and it took that type of thing. But he needed the elements to be in his favor. The elements could work for him here. This is a shorter course and it's going to be hard.
And
that's where you want Danny Willett.
And we got to own something on the Willett pick. We kind of bet it because we just knew how well he was playing and the number was going to be slashed. It wasn't like, oh, this guy's really good. Like, hopefully he can win. It wasn't like, oh, he's winning the Masters. Bet it today. Like, that was not the message we were putting out there. I can't.
What did he say? What was he like?
Oh,
you got to talk to him. You got to talk to him.
He was very cool. He made fun of my Samsung.
Okay.
Because I had like a momentary hard time for a moment. It's like, well, that's what you get for a Samsung, or that's my shitty accent. No, he was the man. And it was raining a bit. So he was even gracious enough to hang out with me. And I spotted him. Like, he was sort of like in a downrange, like far away. And I spotted him. These Hawkeyes, I could tell by the sweater, by the Cadillac flash bag. And he was working. He was out there grinding. So was Alex Noren, even in the rain, getting in all the work. Apparently that's like a Noren thing, just to work till they tell you got to get off the range.
Yeah, maybe he should have saved some of that energy for the weekend when he
Willett,
when he was abysmal.
Willett was great, friendly, smiling, happy. That he smiled in the picture. He was smiling before and
Did you
and
give him
after
the hug
picture.
I asked you to give him?
Yeah. It was sort of like it was wet.
The wet hug.
Yeah, it was wet. But it was.
Were you wet?
It was good. By the time I walked out of there, I was pretty wet.
Just after seeing Danny Willett, you got very soaked.
And it was such a fine line because I was there on Wednesday, Pat, and you really like ride the line of, it might be really bad weather. But before I got there, there was a bit of a delay and they closed the course. So when I was there for like a 2-hour window, the place was like empty. And if they had not gotten rained out on like Wednesday, what I could have done.
Did you tell him that he is like how much money everyone won on him winning the Masters and the fact that like we still have a career doing this?
I told him he sort of like made me. Yeah. And I think by the fact that like the engagement my tweets sent out, like I think really took him aback. Like the amount of engagement the picture of me and him got, like floored him. Even I think to the point, because I got the picture with him and tweeted it, but didn't put him on that tweet. And it got like close to 1,000 likes. And then later he like tweeted it himself. Like, I think he wanted in on my rub. I'm joking. I am. No, he was great. And any coincidence that 4 rounds in the 60s, his first T10 since the Masters, since a little rub?
Did you tell him he paid for half of my wedding?
I told him he paid for everything.
He's a good man. Hopefully he can do it again this week.
Yeah.
200-1.
And listen, this is a guy keep an eye on because, I mean, you bring him up on Fantasy National, everything is trending right for him. And there are certain courses that really will suit him as we come down the stretch here.
Right.
And now there are a lot of courses where you almost want to red ink him because, it's just he has a certain type of game that won't play places. But yeah, no, it was awesome. It was awesome. And even like the buddy I was with, I don't know. It's so funny. I don't know. Actually, I don't want to go there.
Okay. So for me,
I got one more name.
I got, like I said, where is he? Hatton, Siwoo, List, Willett. Those are just guys I kind of chucked
How
on.
can we know?
Hatton I actually have confidence in. The other 3 are kind of like,
fine.
hey, this is fun.
Yeah, this is fun. Yeah, no, I get it. You're beholden to List and Woo, and like Fienberg touched Willett last week, so maybe we should.
Also, Siwoo shockingly shows up in a lot of these stats this week. Very good with wedges, played Pebble really well earlier this year, has putted outstanding on POA, and one of the best short games on tour.
I really don't understand why Matt Wallace isn't with these guys.
I know, it's strange. So, guys I'm giving a look to. Horschel and Grace are 2. How about Bernd Hauser Wiesberger? All of
He's
a
showing
sudden,
some
he
life.
just shows up again?
Health.
3 years after the fact, he's back?
I know. 3 years after I said if he won the Masters, I would get a statue made of me in their old. That was their like one of the original DK campaigns.
Yeah.
Was like you're like David statues of yourself, kind of.
Yeah, because you had so
'Cause
much.
you won the
But
Millie Maker?
we always talked about. I know he had that really good PGA Championship and he wilted on the Sunday. But if he was ever going to like win and compete at one of these majors, it would be one where the winning score was like +1.
Yeah,
He's just a grind it out type of guy.
I bet him at last year's Open Championship or the year before.
Probably the
bet
year
him.
before. I don't think he was
Yeah.
in last year's.
You're
Open
right, because he's been
Championship.
gone with an injury, but he's back and we're seeing some life. How big is that number?
It is 200 to 1, and you could probably find that deeper on other places. I just thought he was interesting. I'm not saying I'm betting it.
I don't mind. Can I go down a bit over 100 though?
Walker,
No.
Kevin Na.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I
You see,
here's the thing.
I know we're just
Here's the thing, and this is what I came to with Kevin Na. And when I started talking about guys like Louis, like maybe a top 10 bet is the move. Is there any chance Kevin Na is winning on
know.
Sunday and he wins the U.S. Open? The answer to that has to be no.
I agree with you. And I know it's so easy to like bet a guy, see him win, see him do things from like 10 feet or get up and down from like 90 yards with this confidence that like,
He
what
has
the hell?
He has the perfect game for this course.
Is he not a California guy? I know he lives in Vegas now, but I want to, I don't know, maybe I'm born in Korea. Anyhow, the intestinal fortitude that I feel Kevin Na has right now, because for all the jokes, and I feel like a lot of the meaner stuff or a lot of like the time stuff, we're sort of past that. We can pick on other guys.
Well, you know what?
The Na jokes, and he gets easily triggered. And there were that moments, like he made that double on the par 5, and we literally, everyone with the betting ticket was like, this is the end. Like this was fun, but you almost wait. Even on Sunday, you're like waiting for Finau to get him. You're waiting for him to go backwards when he won at Colonial. And he just like, I saw a man that I didn't see before. Now, granted, we saw Patrick Cantlay look like a different version of that. Guys that win on the PGA Tour on Sunday look different when they win.
Yeah.
Like like I'm just saying, you do things you don't normally do. That's how you win. So to take that Sunday, which might have been an outlier 4 days, and say it's going to go to Pebble is crazy. But your point in that his game, the facets of his game really work here, and he has a level of confidence that should be no different than Patrick Cantlay's. He's 125 to 1. But you're right. It's like T10, T20.
I like him a lot. I'm considering betting him anyway. But I guess you could put it like his first 14 years on tour, he won once. Over the past year, he's won twice. So maybe something has changed for him.
Something else. He's won twice, Pat. What type of players? Look at the list of players that have won twice in like the calendar year. It's Molinari. It's Tiger.
Xander.
It's Brooks. It's Xander. It's
Rory.
it's an insane list of type of guy. And I know he's not that guy, but the fact that he has done it and how hard it is. I'm betting Kevin Na.
Okay. What about Duffner? Who's playing great.
Great, yeah. And it's a short.
I feel like Rory winning last week at the Canadian Open is only because Jason Duffner withdrew. Jason Duffner was definitely going to win.
I forgot about that.
I made him my one and done, and then 2 minutes after recording, he withdrew. But I talk about Casey is the type of driver you want. Like Kyle Stanley is another guy like this. I don't even know if Kyle Stanley's in the field, but moderate distance to above average distance and pure accuracy. And we know that the ball striking is really there for Duffner. I worry about his short game because it's not great, but he was top 12 here in the 2010 US Open. I think he has a good game for here. And he's playing really well right now. I think it kind of goes underrated how well he's actually playing. 7th, 40th, miscut 4th. It doesn't sound like much, but he wasn't going to compete at the PGA Championship. He's just not long enough. But at courses where he can compete, he's been around.
Has Grillo been playing much different than Duffner?
I don't know. Grillo's not going to win. At least Duffner's won a major championship. Grillo can't win the fucking Fries.com Open. Actually, no, he did win the Fries.com Open.
It was like his first ever start.
Yeah, that's it. That's all he can win. Do you have faith in
anytime
Grillo?
you get small greens and you want to be on the fairway in that right little spot, and 3 putts are sort of far less likely.
But he's not a bad putter.
I want to say, we say it every week. I don't think putting is the be all and end all this week, but I do believe you have to be very good in that.
So what you're saying is you don't want to be Luke List?
No, but to win, you're going to have to be that guy from 10 feet.
Sure.
That's
Listen, if you're gonna play like Griot's 140, I'd rather bet Furyk at 125. Like, what's really different?
no.
What's really different between
Do
them
you
except
know-
Furyk's actually playing well?
Do you know you're absolutely right. And you know who's playing well but has nothing positive here ever in his life. So I wonder if the truthers will be back for him. The other Rory. The Rory that for a week was the better Rory.
Sabatini.
For 1 week in time.
Yeah, Rory had to reclaim his time.
Rory had to
well,
get his...
Sabatini was beating him on the Ryder Cup standings. Now they represent Slovakia.
Sabs.
I'm out on Sabs.
I'm a never Sabs, but he's been great.
The only number that I find really strange here, like I don't hate guys like CT Pan. That's more of like a top 20 kind of thing as well with him, just because he's good around the greens. He's very accurate off the tee. We've seen the courses where he's played well at. Guys like Webb Simpson have done well. Brandt Snedeker have also won at. Places like the Wyndham, places like the Heritage.
Alex Noren?
No. Well, Ian Poulter, 125 to 1?
Yeah. Sneaky, right?
Shouldn't he be like 60 to 1?
Sneaky.
It's weird. Noren had one good round out of whatever, and all of a sudden you're back in.
I didn't say I'm back in.
Such a disaster after that first round last week.
Horrible. Like from like he couldn't do anything right.
No, he was just bad. He was like the worst guy in the field, basically.
Sorry, you said someone that was actually pretty intriguing.
Was it Furyk? Poulter?
No, Poulter. Because he can do that 150-yard iron and that ability to scramble.
And we're not in New York, so like people aren't going to be pestering him the entire time. I feel like the people at Pebble Beach got a bit more class.
Also, the Monterey Peninsula, they're like a little
Maybe
more.
he's just sipping on some wine, watching. Was it Big Little Lies? Is that what the show was called?
Yeah, the Monterey Five.
Maybe he'll see Reese on the course. I don't know, but if we're talking about like, is this Phil's last chance to win a U.S. Open? It's ticking down for Poulter. It feels like this and Portrush might be two of his last shots to win a major.
I'm not betting it, but I can see the case. And to a lot of guys we've mentioned here, whether it be whether it be Poulter, whether it be Hatton,
Like Hatton's the only one.
even going a little lower, it is the U.S. Open, so you get hesitant to say this because we've talked about who's won these things. But this course, I do believe, I'm not saying they're going to win, but your chances of having that ticket that you're going to go to bed with on Saturday, like, could this happen? Like, this is a live ticket.
Yeah,
my 140 to 1 guy's 14 to 1 on the live board on Saturday night, 18 to 1. Like, I'm not doubting there'll be a consortium of hot tickets. So I don't want to throw stones. It's Pebble Beach. It's not these other places that literally Brooks Koepka on his flight over. Did he by chance leave his homework on the ground on the plane? The homework where he crosses off names. Because I'd like to see his cheat sheet.
How do you feel about 2019 U.S. Open winner Luke List?
It would be. I was disappointed that after his great PGA, he literally couldn't do a thing at the Memorial.
Of course not. It's Luke List. This is gonna happen.
But what are you asking me? Is he gonna make the cut? Like, what
No,
are we?
I'm saying is he going to win? Yes or no?
No.
Yes.
I loved and credit to all of them, but Ben's write-ups are they're just fantastic.
I think he was trolling me with his.
I think he was, but there has to be some fair and balanced Luke List reporting around this week.
No, guaranteed winner Luke List, 175 to 1.
He was 200 at the PGA.
It's gonna be tough. I mean, I was gonna say it'd be tough to 3-putt from 25 feet, but he'll find a way to do it. If anyone can find a way to do it, it's him or Ben Ann. One of the two. Anyway, I think we're good here. Quick picks. You ready? My picks for the PGA Championship. My betting cheat sheet will come out on Wednesday when I do the live show. If you want to watch the live show and get your questions in, 1 p.m. Eastern on my Facebook page and on Periscope. Hopefully back on YouTube. Not sure yet, but the cheat sheet will be out on my Facebook page for sure. Post it up there. You'll be able to find it and hyperlinked in the column. But Justin Thomas, 28 to 1. Jason Day, 33 to 1. Paul Casey, 55 to 1 with the top 8 each way. Terrell Atten, 140 to 1 with the top 8 each way. And then, of course, Willett, Woo, and List because I'm a sucker. But they're at 150, 175, and 200.
Did you say Paul Casey?
I did. You?
Justin Thomas.
Okay. You're going to do it?
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
It's
Go
that
JT.
approach number. It's that what I see. That's not a 1 week thing for him to be like on point with irons. JT, Paul Casey, Gary Woodland for me is a big number, but I don't mind 80-1.
And you got Ricky from last year.
Hatton, Willett, and are my over 100s.
Cool.
I'm gonna get back in though.
Again,
I'm gonna get back in lower. Xander is percolating, and
yeah, I want to decide on someone below because I mentioned like there hasn't been a winner in 10 years that's been over 50-1. Tim actually did the right thing. Tim's picks again are Adam Scott, Jordan Spieth, and Brandt Snedeker. That might be the better route to go. I'm not going to lie to you. It actually sounds very sensible the way that he's laid out his 3 picks. So maybe you jump back in with a Snedeker or a Webb Simpson, something like that. Anyway, one and done. Picks of the week. Tim's one and done pick is Adam Scott. I believe you beat me. No, you had Sergio. He missed the cut. So it's to me. I don't know if I've taken Justin Thomas or not. Have I? I'll take Justin Thomas.
I know I haven't.
And if I haven't, I will take Jason Day, who I used at API, but he withdrew, so I got him thrown back in the pool for me. Those are my 2 picks. JT, I feel more confident in. I'll take him if I've used him. Jason Day for me. That'll also be on the cheat sheet when you find it.
Everyone I've already freaking used. Xander.
You haven't used Xander?
I'm pretty sure I haven't. And
Well,
if
that
I
basically
did,
locks you into a bet on Xander right now.
if I did use Xander, I might flip flop to the guy that because you had first pick.
Yeah.
I might flip flop to the guy who you can't
Justin Thomas?
pick if you've used him or even Day. Because I've used all these guys and I still suck.
Well, I want another contingency then, because if I can use JT, you can't have him.
I was referring to that.
Oh, so if I have used JT, you're going to move into JT over Xander?
No, if I've used Xander,
Yeah. You'll go
then
to-
I will probably move into JT or Day, whichever one you're not
that I
allowed
don't
to
get.
use. I know I haven't used them, but you have first pick, so I would have to
That makes sense.
stand by on your call. But I don't think I've used Tiger.
You should use Danny Willett.
Last time I did that, Pat,
He won the Masters.
I was just like, I remember that. Screw it. Danny Willett, one and done. No.
I used Tiger at Memorial, I think.
Geez, Tiger was.
Gives you a rooting interest in Tiger, at least.
Love Tiger.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
The Pat Mayo Experience. You can go back and check out the shows up on my podcast stream, up on facebook.com/thepmes, where you'll find all of the videos. Hopefully DraftKings shares them on their Facebook page as well. A bit dicey with that. And give me access to it, so I have to like ping someone. They're like sleeping or something and don't want to share it. Either way, hopefully we're back up on YouTube so everyone can consume all the content. Picks cheat sheet be out on Wednesday. The DraftKings breakdown show with Raza and Rick will be out on Tuesday afternoon. The live chat with Reed Fowler, Wednesday afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern time on my Facebook page and on Twitter, hopefully YouTube as well. And then Friday, Cut Sweat Show with me and you. Cust will probably be on, and I doubt he's doing much on a Friday night.
After dinner, Cut Sweat Show.
Well, he might be, I assume Tim goes to bed at like 8 p.m. His time, too. He's an hour past us, but come and hang out with us there. If you want to get into a draw for 20 DK bucks, 100 DK bucks, or 10 DK bucks, depending on which draw you end up winning, 3 ways to do it. Smash the like button for the episode. Leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section. Give me your favorite play from beyond 100-1. Then you can subscribe, rate, and review the audio podcast, especially on iTunes. Those ones are really easy to find. 5 stars, DraftKings handle, something nice about the show. And then on Instagram, follow me at the PME, where I just posted a fun picture of Geoff Fienberg doing his hair before the show. You can go check that out. Hart, one of the U.S. Open stuff. Leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section. Boom, you're in the draw as well. Winners will be announced on that show on Wednesday. And become a member at fantasynational.com right now. Even on a weekly, it will give you the biggest leg up in being prepared for the U.S. Open to go win some of the monies. Want to thank Cust, want to thank Geoff, and I want to thank all of you for watching. Good luck at the U.S. Open. I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!